So let's share my screen. Here you go. This is a gravel road. Or is it? So of course, you are all part of the gravel cooperative, and we are going to talk about planning great gravel routes in Komoot. But I thought it would be a cool idea to start off by asking this question: what is a real gravel road? Like we were talking a little bit about it just now, because Ollie's just been on holiday, and I saw that Hugh had written an article up on the Gravel Union site about maybe changing the name. So Gravel Union should maybe be a Groves Union, because do we really ride gravel roads, or do we just ride groads, or is there a difference? And I just thought it'd be a cool start for this gravel webinar to see if we even have gravel part of
Well,
the world.
I'm sure that everybody has some gravel, but my argument was that most of us ride half and half, and it's what gravel bikes are good at, is the fact that you can do a bit on the road, a bit off the road. You can do some single track, you can do some urban trails, they're just great for all kind of riding. And so, as I said, as a joke, we should call it Grode Union or the Grode Cooperative, but it didn't go down so well with my colleagues at work. But it's going to stay as the Gravel Union for a while yet.
I think gravel is such a popular term at the moment, and will be, will
Yeah,
stay that way. It just, for me, gravel anyway, it means just being out on an adventurous route.
yeah,
It just means more adventure and more off-road, or more roads that are not necessarily smooth or best suited.
exactly it.
Um, and I think a great gravel route is just like any great route should have, like a really nice flow, lots of different segments, a bit of change in landscape would be
Yeah,
cool. But yeah, you also have those challenges, where the challenges get as much gravel or as much off-road in there as possible. Um, and then sometimes, that means there's unsuited single tracks, or really busy like tour bike paths. Anyway, that's like that in the Netherlands. And
yeah,
I would say a great gravel route is finding those quiet segments, like the stuff you were just talking about,
yeah.
the stuff that is a little bit out of the way, or maybe not easily found, and a little less traveled. um let's move on to the next slide, and I'll tell you all about what we're going to be talking about this next in this hour. Yeah, first of all, some house rules. The workshop is recorded. We can't see or hear you guys, but you can let yourself be known. You can chat with other people in the chat box. You can tell us things in the chat box that you might want to add to what we're saying. And then please, in the Q&A is where you can ask your questions. So it's really good to have that difference, so we have a good overview of what kind of questions are coming in, and so we can make sure your questions are being answered in the webinar. And if we don't get a chance to do that, we will do so after the webinar, or right at the end. We'll stick around and get your questions answered. And if we don't get around to it, we can always email you with your answers. So we have already defined what a great gravel route is. Well, we can continue that conversation forever, I think, but and let's, because it's fun. I'll give you a little bit of an intro to Komoot, and tell you what the world pack is that you have received. Super special, cool feature of, or a cool add to your membership, and then we'll move on to the app itself. I'll show you where you can find routes, how you can share them, and how you can easily replan the routes so they suit your needs, so you can change the starting point pretty easily. I'll tell you a little bit about some route planning basics, and some of my best tips to find great gravel segments and build your gravel routes. And we'll have some time for a Q&A. So it's a lot to deal with. Let's get started. So Ollie will be monitoring your questions. So please drop them in the box, and he'll interrupt me if there's a question that is needs an answer right now, which is fine. So please do let us know what you'd like to know additionally to what I am telling you. Yeah, first a little intro. So I'll go first. My name is Roebijn Schijf. I am Dutch. I am coming to you live from Amersfoort in the middle of the Netherlands. I would call myself a komoot expert. I do a lot of planning in Komoot, but I'm also Komoot's community manager for the Netherlands and Belgium. Started working at Komoot in September 2019 when everything was still open and normal. And I have a great job where I get to partner up with lots of cool organizations doing great stuff for cyclists, organizing events, organizing knowledge exchange, sharing routes, motivating people to go out and do great stuff. So I get to partner with all of those to get people psyched about Komoot, and that's why I'm also here to tell you in this workshop about gravel routes. And with me is Ollie. Do you want to tell a little bit, tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. Okay, so I'm the editor of the Gravel Union, and I also look after the Gravel Cooperative, which we set up earlier in the year. I've been the editor nearly 18 months, so a little while, and my job is to oversee everything to do with the website and the social media that goes with it, so Instagram and Facebook and all the rest of it. I got into gravel riding from a mountain bike background. I used to work as a mountain bike guide, and then I worked in the travel industry, and so I've done loads and loads of riding all around the world. But probably 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, I first got into riding drop bar bikes off-road and decided that was my biggest love, even though all my friends laughed at me and said it's the wrong bike and you shouldn't do it, and it's not, you should have a mountain bike off-road and a road bike on road. But I was already hooked, and it's just grown and grown from there. So I spend as much of my time as I can on a gravel bike, some bike packing, done a bit of racing, some events, but all sorts. And I love all different types of riding. But and I'm based in Newcastle in the northeast in the UK, and do a lot of urban gravel, which is because where I live in the middle of a city, I've got lots of trails right on the doorstep that are quite scrappy, and you link little sections together of single track and some proper gravel as well, like in this photograph. But a lot of it is just a mix of bits of trails put together, and I think that's what a gravel bike is best for.
Cool. This photograph is awesome. By the way, from your
so that was
last ride
in Northumberland, so it's not far from here, probably only an hour from where I live, up in the moors. And that's marked on the map as a proper road. So you get there in a car and you'd think, oh, and it's a gravel trail for probably 5 kilometers. And we just found it by when I was out riding, and thought this is perfect gravel riding.
So this is not even, we'll get into it when we get to the legend and the map key in Komoot, because I wonder what kind of road this is then. So yeah. Or can you already say, is it like a white road, or
it would be it's marked on the British mapping. It would just count as a minor country road. So you couldn't tell from the map what the road surface is. It could be tarmac, it could be gravel like this, but it's marked as open to all vehicles. So it's not, sometimes we do have tracks and trails here, but this is officially a road.
Wow. It's different in every country. So in the Komoot map in the Netherlands, I'm sure this will be counted as an agricultural road.
Yeah,
a little bit beige.
Yeah,
but it all depends on OpenStreetMaps. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on, because it's super interesting. First, a little Komoot intro. I am pretty sure all of you know what Komoot is, but not necessarily. I'll give you a little intro, start from the start. So basically what Komoot does is help you plan better routes, better gravel routes, better road bike routes. It's also a great app for hikers or in the mountains or a forest or just urban hikers. But for gravel routes, so I thought this was a nice set of pictures. This is me in the Dolomites last year, and Komoot helped me find this amazing road that you see on the left. This is probably my favorite gravel road of all times. I was literally just standing there shouting to nobody, going, yes, yes, I found you. Komoot helps you avoid the paths that you can see over there. So I was on my gravel bike. I think it's 38 mils. This is not a great road. I had seen it on in my route. This was an S2 and parts of it was an S3 mountain bike trail. I was, of course, stubborn, and I was like, I can get through this all right. It was a good hiker bike. Komoot helps you prepare for what you see on the right. So this is, you can't really see what it tell, but this is a really quite a steep climb in loose gravel, and I did also find this road, or I knew about this road before I started on my route, and so I was prepared to I actually took my shoes off because I was on my road
Okay.
and pushed my bike up. Anyway, so this is what Komoot is. To get more specific, Komoot is a mobile and web route planning and navigation app. So the Komoot as an app started in 2010. It's a little startup thought up by 6 friends who are all outdoor lovers, and we're like, hey, you know what? Everyone's going to be walking around with a smartphone and a GPS signal on there. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could do everything on their phone, plan your routes, navigate on them, and upload them to a platform? So that's how Komoot started, and that's what it still is. But we did get a little better in those 10 years. I think we're one of the best apps around. Is what's great about Komoot, it's all in one. You can find really amazing places, locations. You can easily plan your routes, avoid spots or segments that you don't want in there, and it's all super user friendly, and you can really control what your route is going to be like, and there's a lot of information there to make it the perfect route for you. And then you can easily sync it with your device or use the planner or the navigation part of the app to just navigate straight from the app and go out in the wild. So all of this, so these screenshots, of course, they're smartphone screenshot, but all of this is just as easily done on your desktop. So if you're like me and you really like to dig into that route planning part, then a larger screen is great, and you can always have do some minor adjustments later on your phone. So it's all very fluid and user intuitive, I'd say. But basically, remote is your route to adventure. That's what we like to call ourselves. It's our slogan, and it really is. So this is an hour drive from my house, and it's probably one of the nicest gravel or off-road or roads, whatever, of our region. Yeah, because the best route, I mean, a great adventure starts with a great route. That's what I think anyway. And that's what Komoot is based on, that idea. And then there's a couple of really cool things that are unique about Komoot, and I think I'll just highlight a few before we get into the planner and the routes. So Komoot has different map layers that you can use, and this is the Google satellite map layer, and you can toggle between the layers while you're planning to just have a look at some different info straight from the picture that is the overlay behind your route planner. And I love Google satellite to find nice sandy bits or the open bit, or avoid the urban areas that you might want to include. And then you can toggle back to the Komoot map, which is a really nice simple map. Or if you want to get into the open cycle maps or the long distance cycle routes, you can use different maps to help you find and navigate the path that you're looking for. And then the other unique thing, and I think probably my favorite part about Komoot is the Komoot highlights. And these are just awesome locations that people have found, Komoot users have found and recommend to the rest of the Komoot community. So Komoot is a user-based or a user data-based app. So everything, the more users we have and the more content you leave on the in the app. So it could be planned routes, uploaded routes, or highlights, or your recommendations, or likes to a highlight. All of that information is used to create better data to plan your routes. And the Komoot highlights just make it so easy to create great routes. You know, you can just click on a highlight, look through the picture, see if you like it, and add it to your route. And in that way, you know, you can find like the little hidden segments that someone might have found that you'll never find if you just plan your route straight from the map. And here's a couple of my favorite highlights, and I just thought it'd be cool to let you know that you can also, if you're already using highlights, you can also bookmark highlights. And that's a way of saving like your favorite segments or your favorite highlights in certain regions, so you can go back to them very easily and use them often in the routes that you plan. And be sure to leave your tips behind, because it's so great to, you know, to be able to read what kind of road it is. Sometimes you'll have some information about what the road's like in summer or when it's rained really for a really long period. So people will add tips like, this is great, this is even a fine road to be riding on your road bike. And yeah, the more highlights and the more tips, the better the app becomes. And then the last little bit, so if you are planning your own route, or someone maybe has shared a route with you, or you get an event route that is shared on the Komoot platform, this is all the information that you can find about that route to prepare yourself. And it's pretty specific. You can really dig into all the little bits and pieces that the route is made up of. But you can also just scroll through, see some of the highlights, the pictures that are in the highlights, to get a really good feel of what the route's going to be like. And then you have the tour profile to give you a little bit of an idea of the elevation, but also the special segments or highlights that you'll meet along the way. Or in this case, this is a Dutch route. There's lots of water here, as you know. You'll see exactly where you'll have to find a ferry and to cross the water.
It's amazing how your route goes down to 0 meters above sea level. That's it says a lot about Dutch riding. I think in the UK we probably wouldn't find that very often.
One of my colleagues commented on a route I uploaded last week. I think I rode for 86 kilometers and my elevation was 0. It's possible, but only in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you also get route warnings. So the ferries are route warnings, or let's call them tips, because warnings sound so like, oh, scary, but they're not. Komoot will let you know if there's segments in your route that you have planned that might not be suitable, or segments that you might have to get off your bike because you're not allowed to cycle there. You can either choose to just hop off your bike for a little bit if it's just a short bit, or you know, move your route around so you don't have to do that. So all that information really can really fine tune you can really fine tune your route with all that info, and make sure you're about to set off on a great route. I don't know about the UK, but in the Netherlands we have a lot of restrictions when it comes to natural reserves and accessibility after dark. So this is the bottom tip that Komoot uses, is like there's a segment there with temporary access, and that's when you can't go to. Do you have that in the UK?
No, not we have restrictions as to where you can ride, but they're not, as far as I know, they're not time related. So I haven't come across anywhere that says you can't ride here in the dark, or you can't ride here certain hours, but we've got areas that we're just not allowed to ride full stop. But I don't think it's time, if it is time related, I've not come across any.
No, we are of course a very regulated country. The Netherlands loves the rules, but yeah, we have a couple of natural reserves, and in order to protect the wildlife,
Yeah,
they stay out when it's after dark because you'll scare the
which
animals.
makes sense.
No, yeah, yeah, it does. But I guess it makes sense mostly in a highly populated
Yeah.
areas like we have in the Netherlands. Anyway, before we get into the roots, well, you all got a World Pack code, and
This, I should just
that,
say, actually,
yeah,
it's only people who signed up for the gravel cooperative
yeah,
who will have got this, and we might have some gravel union members who've come
true.
along this evening as well. So maybe not everybody has got it, but almost everybody. And those that haven't got it already, they can always come onto the Komoot site and upgrade, can't they, if they wanted to buy
Yeah,
this? So it's
yeah.
useful to tell them what it's about.
Yeah, because not everyone will know how Komoot is set up. So basically, it's a free to use app. The navigation in the app is free, and if you want to plan your route, it's all for free. Just have to sign up and start up a profile. But the minute you want to download routes from the app into your navigation device, or maybe you want to navigate offline, so you need to also download the maps. That's when you start. That's when we have this system of Komoot maps, or this offering of Komoot maps that you can choose from. And then there's a single region that you get when you just sign up, but you can add additional single regions to your maps. You can get a region bundle or the World Pack, and the World Pack is 30 euros. And then if you got it, you're lucky, because once you have the World Pack unlocked, you'll have it unlocked for the rest of your life, Komoot's life. I don't know, whichever one takes longer. It means you can download routes worldwide and put them or sync them to your GPS device, or navigate in offline mode on your smartphone. You also can use the turn-by-turn navigation in your smartphone or in the app, and the maps are updated weekly, because the layer that we get our map info from is OpenStreetMaps, and of course lots of changes get made because it's an open source database. So every time new changes and new info comes in, the map will be refreshed, and you'll stay up to date forever. So that's a World Pack. It's pretty cool. But let's get into the route planner. I think it's time to show what the app can actually do and what it looks like. And to start off, I wanted to show you some routes that are up on Gravel Union's profile, and you can have a look, get inspired, or save them to your profile to for your next trip.
So it's a good mix, isn't there? Really urban
Yeah.
for the Edgelands one, and then really wild, the Iceland one. You won't see any people at all. So it's a good
Super
mix.
remote. This is like a popular area in the Dolomites, I think, or was it?
It's actually in Tuscany, but
Yeah.
it's in a bit of Tuscany that nobody goes to, in the very far north.
Ah, nice.
It's away from all the famous bits.
Let's just start with this one because it's fun
Right.
to have a look at. If you don't know what a route in Komoot looks like yet, there's a difference. So you have uploaded routes that have that says uploaded activities, so completed rides, and that's when you see like someone, in this case gravel union, went gravel riding, or maybe it was a different sport. So you'll see went mountain biking or went hiking, and then you have your planned routes that you can also access, and you can also copy and use or get inspired by. And those are also up on Gravel Union's profile, but also the other people that you might follow. You can always choose to either keep your planned or uploaded routes private, or set them as public if you want to inspire other people or let them use your routes. And the nice thing about Komoot is that most people will upload their routes publicly. So you have like this huge database to choose from if you don't want to plan your own routes, or you need to have like a starting point in somehow and want to change your route from a route that you think looks really great. So it's really like it's a real sharing platform, and this this big database that's only growing to with more and more routes around the world. So in an uploaded route, in a completed route, you can add all your pictures, and if you make those pictures with a device that also includes location in the picture information, Komoot will upload them at the where the picture was taken, which gives us really nice.
Super clever.
Yeah, it really gives
I was
us
very
really
impressed
nice
with that.
idea. Yeah, me too. And from here, if this would be, if this was your own activity, you can open the route, and then from here you can make like highlights from these pictures that you have uploaded, and Komoot will tell you exactly where it was, and you can either choose to highlight a segment or just the location. Like this one would be probably a bridge where you're actually standing in the water.
Yeah, that's a road. Can you believe? But it was so wet in February that the water was up to my hub, so it was just a mess. That's a road, but not in February.
Okay, well, if it was a bridge, you could make a highlight of it, like small bridge over there. I thought that was you can add a little description here, and that's super smart. You can add a link to either your blog, or Gravel Union adds links to the site, so you can read up all about the route, and yeah, it's a really great way to present something that you have completed. Then let's have a look at the Iceland one. And now you can see here that it's also a completed ride, and this is a bike ride. It has been uploaded as, and here you start from a fantastic cafe and end there as well. There's not a lot of highlights in Iceland. There's not a lot of people cycling there yet, not with Komoot anyway, I can imagine. If you are like, okay, well, at some point in time, I want to go to Iceland, and this seems like a really cool route, and there's some recommendations here and something I can read up on. You can create a copy of this tour and save it to your own profile. You can also export it directly to your device. So if you click on this and you have downloaded the map that this tour, or the starting point in this tour, is located within, then you can download the GPX file right here. You can do that from your phone or also from the desktop, and it'll just download a GPX file right to your desktop. But if you like working with your profile and you're planning ahead for future adventures, you can create a copy of this tour, and then you get a couple of options. So this is different for a planned tour and also for a activity, because a planned tour is already planned. So basically you just copy it straight from there onto your profile as it is. An activity you can have, there's a couple of choices to be made. You might not want it as a single stage, but a multi-day tour, and you want to stick to the original route or match the known ways. I would always stick to the original route. You can always find out later if there's some bits that you want to take out, but it's nice to write exactly what someone has advised you to. You can give it your name, give it a name. If it's someone's route that has put a lot of effort into it, I always, add the name to the tour, so so you kind of credit someone in that way. And now what you see is that I have planned a bike ride now. So it is now up on my profile in my planned bike rides, in my planned rides. And I can even add it to a collection. If you have a premium account, you can have your personal collections. You can decide if this is a plan that you want everyone to know about, or that this is a plan that is still a secret. And at any time you can go back to this tour that is now up on your profile and edit it, invite others, or share it as a link. And by replanning this tour, you can open it up in a, let's do that actually. I'll show you straight away. So you can edit it, and then it opens up in the route planner. You can also choose to replan the tour, and then you have these two options. Again, opening it up in the planner, or you can just select a new starting point, which is a real cool, easy way to like you might go here, but this is not where you're actually located. You might be around this this area or around here and park. You might want to park over here. So what happens in this like starting point adjustment screen is that Komoot automatically loads the bus stations, train stations, and parking places that are located in the area of this route. So you can easily pick this one as your starting point, which might be a really easy one. Or maybe you've got a little Airbnb. I don't think so, but
no, it's pretty wild there.
And then you can just say, hey, I want to hop on the route over here, and then start it over here.
Yeah.
So it's a super nice, easy way to customize a planned route by someone else, and then save it to your profile to start from there. So super nice and easy. I really want to go here now.
It's fantastic, right?
Oh,
it's
good.
really fun.
Nice to explore some new areas. Now let's go to this one, because this is an interesting one. We added lots of highlights and extra points of interest to this route. So it's a really complete route presentation that you can see exactly what's coming up where, and I'll show you how to change some of the interesting points to your own needs. So this is a planned ride. So you won't see any pictures that Gravel Union or anyone else that plans a ride and that you view on Komoot has made themselves. So planned ride, the pictures are from the highlights that are added to the planned ride. So adding highlights to your route not only helps you find great segments, but it's also a way to display a route or present a route to people that you might be inviting to ride with you, and to give them a little bit more info about the route. So here you can see you'll be on a passo straight away. After 10 kilometers, you'll be riding up to 1,750 kilometers. Up there, you'll find a refugio and another one over here. You can find out more information by clicking on the highlight. There might be more tips about opening hours or more pictures that you might want to view. So you'll be on another mountain pass. This is not a highlight, but yeah, so a point of interest is everything is part of the data that OpenStreetMaps provides, and you can select that those points of interest into your route to yeah, to know exactly where you're going when. And one of the really cool features that you can use is adding water fountains to your route, so you know, and those people you're inviting know how much water they have to take, and when it's okay to finish your bidon, and because you'll be filling it up again.
That's really useful.
Yeah, it's super useful, especially over here.
Something so simple, but it makes a real difference if you.
Yeah, I'll show you a little later on how that's done. And then of course somewhere to eat. You can check out the tour profile over here. You can walk through it in this way. If you want to get dig further into the tour profile, you can expand it here. And this is basically what the route planner looks like as well. We're now not in the route planner, but you can do that by customizing. But here you can see there's a couple of things in here that are quite interesting, like this one here. This is a super steep part. You can click on there or select a certain part of the tour by selecting here and dragging, so that you can find out exactly what's going on here. So if we scroll through here, you can see the percentage of incline is really, really steep. You can also see that it's a single track, and it's what kind of surface type it is. So it goes from single track S1 all the way S1, so it's a pretty smooth, okay, single track, not too many rocks and roots, and then it goes to a path and a gravel path. So what you could do if you are like, well, maybe I don't want to have, my bike is not compatible with that kind of steepness, what you could do is then zoom in and have a look if you can maybe reroute it over there. And then this particular case, you can actually reroute over this S1 over here. So what you could do then is go customize, open it in the planner, and we'll do exactly that. So here you basically open it up in the same thing, but now you're no longer viewing, but you are also customizing. So let's get back to that part where it says it's a really steep uphill. And I'll show you here that you can just drag this waypoint over here. And now the warning is gone. So the steep part is less steep because you rerouted it over this other bit of road. Like there was an extra, I checked this out before, so I knew there was an extra option. There's not always an extra option. You might have to reroute completely, or just decide to get off your bike, or try really hard to get up there anyway. But it's just good to know what's coming up when. And then these drinking fountains, you might think, you know, there's the first one is after, let's see, after 27 kilometers. So you might want to have one a little bit earlier than that. So let's see if we can actually find one. And what you do is over here, you can click, and then you see this whole list of points of interest that you can add to the Komoot map that are not necessarily on there at the moment. So let's see, public water fountains, you might want some, find out if you can find some food, right? And then let's zoom out. So this is where you start, and see if there's somewhere around here, maybe you want to at kilometer 10. There's something somewhere around kilometer 10 where you can also get some water. And there's a lago, but
yeah, I probably wouldn't drink from that.
Probably wouldn't do that. And I think we're out a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, you'd probably have to go to the first refugio to get water there. There's not very much. It's really remote.
And the first refugio is over here.
That's it.
Yeah. So and that's included on the route already. So you know this route has been reckoned. So you know there's a good reason that you go out off the like the flow and go out to this refugio to get some water or some.
It's a great place for lunch as well. They do really good cake.
Awesome. Sounds like I should bookmark this.
Yeah.
So this is how you can customize a route and really get into like the details of what you're going to be riding. And if you've changed something, or you might change the starting point, you can save the tour, and it'll you won't get a new tour, but the one you planned will be upgraded or updated in your planned tour. So there you go. Let's see, are there any questions about this? Because then I think I'll get into like the route planning basics that we haven't
had any questions so far, so I'll let you know if anything comes in.
Cool. So this is all about route sharing. Oh, actually, I want to show you one more thing. So if you want to find routes and you know where you want to ride, for example, like it gives you lots of inspiration in the inspiration tab, and you can see what other people are been doing. But it's also really great to check out what other people or to follow a couple of people that have really interesting routes. And I thought there was some gravel union members here. I thought you added them to the profile, Ollie. Maybe
I thought I did as well.
Yeah, they're gone. Oh well, it's okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. I'll just show you how, if you are on someone's profile, you can add them later on, and then people will know where to find some of the Alliance members that have really great routes, because they get out lots. But here you can find like all the tours that someone has done, and everything they have put out to as public, so visible to anyone. You can search through. So you can search by location. So we were just looking in Tuscany. and you can find Tuscany, and maybe make this a little bigger, and then you can see, oh, not the one we just found. Maybe it's a little bit out further.
Yeah, it's further to the north actually. Of
Okay, little Tuscany's
Tuscany is
UK.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but also here I found another Tuscan road that you can also copy to your profile and put in your planned tours or your bucket list for what you want to do at some point in time when everything opens up again. And there's a couple of really cool people that you can follow here in the Netherlands. We have Erwin Stickens, who is a Gravel Alliance member, and he is a yeah, he loves building routes, and he you could say he's quite an expert on some of the areas and some of the most popular areas. Actually, that picture I showed you just now, this from the Veluwe, and he is the expert in the Veluwe, and he has a lot of collections. So if you go to someone's profile on Komoot, you'll see this, and then you'll see some people have like a whole bunch of collections, and a collection is basically a folder with routes in it. And in the case of Erwin, there's quite some really nice pictures as well, because he's also a photographer. So this is a great place to be on Komoot and scroll through everything that you might find interesting, save or copy all the routes that you want to do at some point to your profile, so you have this really nice database for yourself to get going with. And then, you know, you can replan them straight away because you want to ride from home, or just save it for later. It's yeah, they're all up there. So here you can have you can see like where the routes that are in this collection are located. You can click on them right here, or just scroll down to the routes and scroll through the whole list. And here you find a little information about the routes, and then if you click in the route, you'll find the same info that we were just going through, and you can create a copy or download it straight away or edit it. So yeah, if you find your way or you find out about people, you read up on people on the Gravel Union website, go and check them out on Komoot, and scroll through their collections to build this really cool bucket list of routes that you might want to do.
Great. Ruby, I found a couple of questions had come in that I didn't spot. So one of them is, I really like creating gravel routes on Komoot, but when I want to search for a gravel route, I don't see it as an activity. And this is a chap from Belgium. Of course, it might be this is done on purpose so that we can keep the good roads to ourselves. Now, is Komoot secretly hiding all of the best Belgian gravel routes, or is there an easy way of showing them?
Yes, that's it. You
I think they're specially hidden so that only locals can find them.
I'll give you the code in a bit where all the gravel routes are revealed. No, it's actually a lot more yeah, it's a lot more simple than that. We simply haven't set the planner up as having a specific gravel sports category. So I'll show you guys now. So we have these two menus. One's on the left, and then one down the bottom is once you start planning, is that tour profile that I was just scrolling through. When you start planning, you choose your sport, and here you can see what you can choose from. And you can see there's no, there is gravel riding here. So the algorithm, so we're slowly getting to becoming or to creating a gravel specific category for you on Komoot. So the algorithm is there. So the algorithm that calculates the best gravel option for you from point A to B. But when you upload a tour and the highlights that you make, you can't yet name them as gravel specific. So well, in the Netherlands anyway, people use gravel in the title of their highlights a lot, and also in the title of their route. So that's how you find out if something is a gravel route. When anyone has uploaded an activity, they can actually call it a gravel activity. And this year, hopefully, we will be able to launch a full gravel category and also have an extra gravel map layer for all of you. So it's really exciting, lots of work, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna. I mean, the Komoot team is full of gravel, gravelers as well.
Fanatics.
So pretty sure we'll get it done this year. So what I do when I start, planning, I choose gravel riding here. The fitness level is not super important. It just that just gives you an estimate of how long your activity or your ride is going to take, and then you have these starting points that you can choose from, and we can start planning. Yeah, let's just start planning. You can start planning from your current location. You can add an address here, or just pick a point on the map and just click and go from there. And so basic route planning is just going from A to B. Let's say A to B, and then set it as a destination. And then what Komoot does is, oh, I haven't selected my sport yet, is give you the options from A to B, the most efficient way from A to get to A to B for a bike tour, a hiker, a mountain biker, and a cyclist, a road cyclist. So you can see they're slightly different. And but you can also see that Komoot is not going to go out of its way to get all the gravel highlights in there that you can possibly find. So Komoot is a route planner, not like a magic route machine. That's what I always say. So it gives you all the options, but you are the route planner. So what you do, how many waypoints you choose is basically how much you control you put into the route planning. So now I only have A to B, so there's lots of options still open for me. I'll select my my route or my sport, and that's like my starting point. And what I'll show you guys is, yeah, all the options that you can do to customize your route further from here. And as you can see, there's all these little red dots on the map. These are the highlights, and some of them have an icon in there. And the icon corresponds with your chosen sports type. And this is where you can see what I was just explaining. So I've chosen gravel, but there's no gravel specific highlights. So what I see here are the highlights for bike touring. And if I want to see mountain bike highlights, what I need to do is then change the sports choice, or I can just toggle through the highlights that don't have an icon in there, and then you can see that these are mountain bike highlights. This is also a mountain bike highlight, and that's so you can still add all the highlights that are on the map and that are visible to you to your route, but they might not be specific to the sport that you use, so or that you've chosen. So you might have to look a little bit further into the tips and the pictures to see if it's actually suitable for your sports type and your kind of route. So it's really easy. You click on a highlight, you include it on your route, and then Komoot will recalculate what it's just calculated. So now I have 3 waypoints basically. So from here to here, Komoot will check out what is the most efficient way for a gravel rider to get from A to 1, and then the same goes from 1 to B. So efficient is basically, so it's not about the fastest, but the most, yeah, it's the most suitable really. So if there's an easy choice between a through road that is paved and an unpaved road, and they're not super, there's not super wide, there's not a great difference between them. If you look at the amount of kilometers that you will have to be cycling, then Komoot will choose the unpaved bike path.
Ruby, I've got a good question has come in, which is all related to this. So one of the viewers has said, I'm plotting a route. When I add in a new waypoint, sometimes Komoot reroutes the previous part. So when you put in a waypoint then for number 1, maybe it's changed it and it's found a different route to get to that waypoint. Is there a way of preventing that from happening?
So you mean if I now choose, like a new destination. Let's say this is my new endpoint. You mean it changes
So,
this?
yeah, so it's somehow it's rerouted part of an earlier part of the route when you put
Yeah.
in. So it said it reroutes the previous parts when I've added a new waypoint. Is there a way of stopping this from happening?
I don't actually know if this happening. So basically, what if you do as I just did, then it shouldn't change anything to what happens in the segment that is between the previous waypoints. It should
Okay.
only do something in the new
In the
section
new bit,
basically
yeah.
that you've created. But what might be happening is that you are on a round trip. So this is still a one way. This is how I usually plan. I plan like my way to the furthest point that I want out of the route, and then get Komoot to plan my way back, and then I fine tune it further.
Okay.
And what you can do is either just keep moving your endpoint by choosing the option set as endpoint or include on route. Though maybe this person is doing include on route. That's when it gets a little messy. So make sure if you are still plotting your endpoint that you choose for set as new endpoint. There's also a quicker way to do that. You can also on a Mac do option click, and then it just creates a new endpoint without you having to take that extra step of choosing. So option click, or you can on the if you're not on a Mac, it's alt click. Those are actually some tips that you can also find under this question mark. So did you just see that? Maybe I went too fast. So in the right corner, you have two icons here. You have a question mark and a exclamation mark, and the question mark gives you some basic route planning tips if you forgot something that you might want to check up on. But also very important, there's the map key here, and there are some pro tips. So the shortcut I just gave you is also marked here. So there's the alt click adding waypoint in one go here. Let's check out the map key while we're here. So there's actually a new gravel road description. How do you say it?
Description.
Description.
Yeah.
No, so there used to be two tracks here. Now there's actually three, and so we've added one like type of gravel road to the maps, and so it basically goes from the top one is probably a little bit like the picture in your intro, Ollie. So we call it an agricultural road. It might be a little bit too narrow for normal roads. It might be a bit lumpy or have a lot of holes, but it's often it is often paved or very compact or a very compact surface.
Yep.
And then the one below that is less compact, so that's more like the or maybe that's actually more like the gravel road from your picture, and then or maybe the one that is that my picture that I just showed you, the glowing more golden gravel, and then the one below that is a little bit more rough gravel and might be even more narrow. It's still not a single track, but it's for a little bit more tougher gravel to get through. So these are the three kind of map key, or the kind of paths that you'll be looking for in the Komoot map if you're looking for your for a nice gravel road. There's also the single trails I was just talking about in that picture of what you want to avoid. So that was an S3 single scale. That is quite a difficult single scale. In the Netherlands, typically you won't find a lot of S3. There'll be S1, maybe S2, maybe S0. So these are single trail scales, and if you're on a gravel bike, you don't want to go over this too. So those are good to zoom into if you are including a single track on your map. And in the Netherlands, it's very useful to know the difference between dark green, which is a walking or a hiking path, and the light green, which is a cycleway. And I know in the UK, especially bridleways are a very important part of your route planning. Can you explain people
Okay, so
what bridleways are?
yeah, bridleways are open to pedestrians, horse riders, and cyclists, and so they're good for all of us as gravel riders. We have things called footpaths, which are in theory only accessible on foot. So you
Yeah.
can't take a horse along them, you can't take a bike along them. There's a bit of grey area, but if it's probably simplest, footpath is pedestrians, everything else is accessible on a bike. And as you have to be a bit careful that we do ride footpaths, but legally you're not supposed to.
Ah, okay. And then bridleways in the Netherlands are often very, very sandy
Okay.
horse tracks that, well, a mountain bike might be okay, but it's not
Yeah.
often not allowed. But on your gravel bike, you just don't want to be caught out on a
Yeah.
horse track.
Okay.
Well, I don't anyway. There might be some people that really love riding sand. So yeah, that's the map key. You can find it down there. What I usually do if I'm kind of plotted my way and then decide, you know, Komoot can decide how I want to go back, I'll change my route type to a round trip and let Komoot decide how to get back home. And so here I have my basic route. It's 100K, which is about what I want. And here I can also show you what happens if you change your fitness to athletic. So from taking 3 hours, it now estimates that I'll take 5 hours and a quarter. And down here you can see how a Komoot estimates that time. So my average speed, Komoot says, is a little under 20 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
So these are the route details. And I can also check out where the temporary restriction is. I already know this because I know I'm riding through this natural reserve. So there's some restrictions for after dark riding over there. So if I think I'm going to be late, I might have to take those out. I would like some more route tips to actually show you what I can do. But let's try something else. Let's see where I can get some food and zoom into your route. And I would say about halfway. Hey, this is pretty cool. This is right on or not too far away from the route. You can just click on it. Oh, it's just moved. Click on it up here. Sorry, sometimes the route plan is a bit slow when I'm also using my video, and I can just include it en route there. So that's point of interest. You can also add like camping grounds or find parking spaces so you can meet up with other people. So those are all when you click on this address strip. Sometimes I don't know the English word, sorry.
Your English is perfect.
Thanks. But how you make the best gravel route and what is your biggest help, I think, if you're trying to find great gravel segments, is definitely the highlight. So you can already tell from the names here, there's quite a few gravel bits, nice gravel through the woods over here. So what you can do is click on it and you can have a scroll through, so you can click further and see all the pictures that people left behind, which is super useful, and especially in finding out what kind of surface a segment has and if it's useful for you, if you like the way it looks, and if it's maybe too narrow or too wide. And this looks really cool, so I want to include this on my route. I'm also aware that this waypoint 6 is not exactly in the right spot over here at the moment. So I'm not sure Komoot can make something great out of this. So as you can see, the best thing Komoot can do is guide me up there, and I'll go back and forth a little bit. Now this is something that happens a lot because route or gravel roads are often segments that are sometimes very long. So what I do then is I don't want to go through here. Maybe I could, but what I can also do is say okay, I found this segment. I can now add a waypoint here to make sure it doesn't move away. So what you do is you click oops. Yeah, there it is. You click just right, like a little bit next to the road, because you can't add a waypoint like on the route, because Komoot doesn't see the logic in you adding a waypoint to somewhere where you're already going. So you have to kind of drag and drop the marker, and then you get it, or it places a waypoint a little bit off your route. And now it's actually off. It'll usually just drop it on the line, but I was out a little bit too much because of the slow start, or the slow movement of the map. So what I do now is I actually remove this highlight. Oh, it didn't work. Well, I still know where it was because I can see it over here. So, and then put it back over here. So yeah, I've got this question a lot from people where they want to add a highlight, but they see, you know, how the highlight changes the route in an unfavorable way. So this is how you can fix that. So sometimes, you know, if you oops. Sometimes if you're making a route, you can take a really long time. And I love doing that because you can get into all the nitty gritty little bits of planning the routes and creating a perfect flow. It's also quite easy to just plan a route and leave it at that and not add any extra things that might cause it to, you know, cause you to, or have you plan more or spend more time on the planning than you want. I always think, you know, just you can basically count on Komoot to make a great route that is suitable just by planning or just by adding a couple of waypoints. And it's up to you to, you know, perfect or fine tune it in however much time you want to spend on it. And as you see here, there's a lot of highlights here. There's a lot of gravel highlights. So it's really easy to see where you want to go and easily add them to your route to make a little bit of a different route than you would than just the basic line. Like this part here, I would definitely change. I don't like going straight through a city. So what I do here is find out if I can go around here. No, there's no picture here. So maybe this one. This one looks really quite nice. So I'll zoom in, have a look at the what kind of roads are in there. So you can see here's the light green is a bike path. This looks like a mountain bike path. That might be a bit too much. And then I can just grab the line and drop it over here and make sure I go around the urban areas. So it's the drag and dropping is really nice because you can see what the route's doing while you're dragging. So you can grab it, drag it, grab it. Drag it.
It's always the way, isn't it, when you're demonstrating and never does quite what you wanted to.
Well, normally you can see like the blue line, like you did just see as well. You can see the blue line move around, and then you can see what kind of outcome suits you best, and include that on, and then let it go and let it drop there. So here's another one that I would want to fix because it's not necessarily the best way to go back and forth, and I think I can just move it over here. And that's interesting. So as you can see, Komoot won't let me plan across this road here, which looks like a gravel road. But if you look a little bit better, you see that this gravel road ends up on a footpath and then on a gravel road again. And so this footpath is probably a path where you're not allowed to cycle. So unless you put like waypoints here and there, Komoot will always try to avoid something that that is not accessible to you. If there's no other way, so let's try it out and see what happens if we actually put a waypoint right here. Then it will actually it didn't show up as a as something that was not allowed, but it was just not a very logical way. But sometimes you'll see that Komoot won't let you go over a path where you're actually wanting to plan it, and it might be because you're not allowed to go there. So please do check like these tips that Komoot gives you to make sure that you don't go somewhere that you're not allowed, and upset the forester. Is it a forester that you call them?
Yeah, or the park warden or whatever.
Park warden, yeah. Yeah, so let's see if there's some questions here, because I think we are
Yeah, we got some good ones.
Definitely well into talking for an hour, showing you lots of things, and maybe I should stop there because there might be too much information to take in for 1 hour. Yeah, give me
okay, so there's a couple of some quick ones. First of all, is there a maximum number of waypoints that you can add?
No, but you will see Komoot will get slower after about 50 waypoints.
Okay.
So yeah, and if you are sometimes if you replan someone's activity, it might have a lot of waypoints because you've stopped and go, and you stop and go, and yeah, sometimes an uploaded route has a lot of waypoints. In order to then replan it without the planner getting stuck, it might be good to remove a couple of waypoints, and
okay,
you can do that quite easily by opening this up and just clicking on the rubbish bin.
Great. Okay. Here's an interesting one. Are there any plans to include water sports in the future on Komoot? For example, stand-up paddleboard, kayaking, or open water swimming, which has become really popular in the UK over the last year.
Well, the cool thing is you can upload your activity as a something already in there. Yes, I think so, and rollerblading. So we have a whole list of sports types that you can choose from for your uploaded activity, but waterways are something else. I have asked this about to our product manager for the route planning and navigation, and he said, you know, there would have to be like a database that tells you all about how deep, if you are,
whether it's legal,
if it's legal, if there's big boats that you have to be careful of, if there is a current, and there's so much information that we would need in order to let it plan the way we are able to plan your cycling routes. That it's just not there.
Just too difficult.
Yeah, and just not available.
Okay,
but
couple of really quick ones. I've created several highlights in the past. Is there a way to see them all without bookmarking them?
Yes, so your highlights are all saved in your profile, and you have your bookmarked and your recommended ones. And the recommended ones is a list of the ones that you've either recommended yourself, so a highlight that has been created by you, or a highlight that you, when you uploaded your tour, have given a thumbs up. So if you have liked a highlight that someone else had made that you came across, you can give it a thumbs up, and then it also gets added to this list here. And if you then want to find your highlights that you've either recommended yourself or want to refine to include in your route, you can find them by location or name. So they're all up here. So these are recommended. The bookmarked ones are the ones that you've saved or bookmarked. Yeah. So they're blue, as you can see. Yeah.
Great. Right. This is slightly more complicated. We're Gravel Union's running a competition this weekend where and you can win a new Canyon Grizzle gravel bike. And we've asked everyone to plot the route on Komoot. And one of the questions is, how do you tag a participant? So what we've asked everybody to do is to plot their route and to tag Gravel Union so that we can see where they've been riding, what the route was like, and look at their highlights and all that.
Completed routes.
Yeah. So if they've come back from their ride, they've uploaded it, how can they then tag Gravel Union so that we can see it?
So you can tag participants in your tour, and that's how you tag Gravel Union as well. So basically you're saying Gravel Union was part of this tour. So this is a completed tour that I've opened, and I can here add participants, and I can see I already added, or I sent an invite to someone else to display how this is done. So you can revoke a tour, but you can also add a tour. And the only thing here is that you can only tag people that you're already following.
Okay.
So here,
so everybody needs to follow Gravel Union first of all.
if you type Gravel Union in here and you don't see the result coming or down here, then that's because you're not following them.
Great.
Yeah. And
Okay.
once you've tagged, the invite comes to the Gravel Union, and the person who is behind the profile, the komoot profile, maybe you, will have to accept the tag in order, yeah, or you, that's just a way of notifying that you have planned your route and you are in for the win.
Brilliant. And then the other question related to that is, how do they add photographs? Is there a top tip for putting photos into the route? Because we've asked them to find a number of things during their route and said, can you put a photograph of each one?
The top tip is definitely making pictures from your phone,
because then it gets the location.
Yeah. It also works with camera, but not as well, and you may need to make sure your camera has geolocation share on. But I would say from your phone, and it depends on if you're on iOS or Android, how easy that is done. It should be really easy. Sometimes it gets stuck on iOS if you do it too quickly. So just take your time. I mean, you can edit it. You can upload your tour and add photos later on. And then a really cool tip for having really great presentation of your tour is that you can place the pictures. So you can also do it on the desktop, or you can see here, but this is like the reel of the upload reel, or the phases that you also see on your phone. On the desktop, it's a little bit easier to see where you are. Here's the photo part, and you can see here I can browse to add more pictures at any time, but I can also place my pictures. So there's 3 pictures that you can put in a header, and this is how you do it. So you can set this one as a cover picture on the left side, this one as a cover picture down the bottom, and so forth.
I didn't know that. That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's cool. And the other cool thing you can see here is that you can also position pictures that are not positioned right. Or, you know, sometimes you get a really great picture that someone else made from their phone while you were out cycling together, and you want to put that picture in the right spot. And if you still know kind of sort of where it was on the route, you can position it like this. You click on here and just say, hey, this is where the picture was actually taken, and then save it down here. And make sure your picture turns up on the right spot in your tour profile.
Perfect.
Cool, huh? Yeah. I didn't know that. I know a lot of people don't know that, because you can't. It's only a little bit of a small icon. So that's my best tip for winning the bike.
Great. Yeah, plot a good route and then make it look beautiful.
And make it look good. Yeah.
Great. I think that's it we've covered all the other questions.
Wow, awesome.
If anybody has got anything else they want to know, now is your chance to ask us.
Yeah, you're also allowed to email us or me later if you have questions about the route at any time.
Sorry, I found some more. I lied.
You found some more.
Yeah, Goethe said there's some more here.
Okay. You're making me feel like there's like a whole pool of questions.
Yeah, Jesus, you're earning your money this evening.
A good one. No.
Okay,
I love questions. Tell me.
Okay, so it says, if you're searching for a route on Komoot, is it possible to see the creator of it? It'd be really useful to browse other planned or finished routes of that user. So for example, Erwin that we looked at before, if you found a route, what's the easiest way to figure out who has planned that?
So you can actually find, search the whole database of Komoot in one go. So what we do have is, like, in the Discover tab, up on here, up the top, you can find the perfect tour. And these are tours that are made by using all the user data and put together, but there's not a person behind it, because it's all like highlights and heat map and information put together. So you can find a route around Amersfoort just by saying, you know, this is about how long it should be, and you'll get a whole list of routes down the bottom here, but there's no names attached to them. so this is the way you find route, but the other way you find route is just in your Discover feed. You'll see everyone's activities pass by, and you can just click on there and then save it to your profile. But I really recommend just, finding out, going to other people's profiles, seeing who they are following, and that way finding, like, creating this really nice list of people on your profile that have great routes, and also upload new ones that you might want to do. But a route is generally always, unless you copy it, it's the original route will always show you who it was, or it will always display the name.
Yeah. Right, a couple of more quick ones. How did you get the key and the legend reference to show?
Yeah, you're in the route planner, and then in the bottom right, there's this exclamation mark and the question mark, and you click on there and you get the key and all the route planning basics.
Brilliant.
What you might not know also is that there's a whole huge help section that you can find next to your name. So there's help guides, and there's also a support section. So the support is for questions like, my Garmin's not syncing with my komoot profile. Help guide, yeah, that
never happens.
There's like 8 pages of Garmin support that you'll find. But once you know how to work Garmin, it's pretty cool. But here you can have your help, you can find your help guide. So there's some, for every subject, we have this whole list of things that you can have a look through.
Okay. All right, one final question. Matic has asked a good question. Why is Gravel Union not shown to be followed? I'm not sure I understand exactly. I thought it was. That's it.
Gravel Union is not a featured user. Ooh, well, that's my fault. I will add them to the featured user list. Great. I think maybe Gravel Union was, when we were starting that list, was maybe not uploading as much great routes yet.
We didn't do very much. It's my fault. It's too busy. I didn't put enough routes on.
But I think by now you've earned a featured user spot, so okay. I'll get it fixed. Good question.
Thank you. I think
is that the last of it?
There's a few more minor ones, but I think we've done all the big ones anyway.
I'm fine with if we are over an hour, and if you have to put the kids to bed or yourself, that's fine. I'm also happy to stick around to ask them and answer some more questions if you want. But if we've answered the big ones, then how about you, Ollie? Do you have something to take care of?
No, I'm good, but I think we've covered a lot. That's been really thorough. So I've learned a lot. One question just come in. Will this be available to watch later on? And yes, it will, won't it? We've recorded the show.
Yeah, it's been recorded.
I'll put a link up on the Gravel Union site where you can watch it.
Cool. You can scroll through and look back into where I found things.
Yeah. And I think everybody who's come along this evening, they get a link tomorrow as well, don't they, to the video anyway? So it'll be both.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone that signed up for this webinar will receive a link, which is also good for those who didn't get the link last minute.
Yeah. Great, Ruby, you've been brilliant. It's been really useful. I've learned a lot, and I think based on the questions, everybody else has learned a lot, so that's great.
Oh, that's really cool to hear. That's yeah, there's so much more to tell still. I always try to put in everything into an hour, but I think
it's too hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too hard. There's so much to find out about komoot, but the best way of finding out is just lots of practice and fiddling around and just finding out your own way, actually, also in route planning, because it's also I think everyone has their own best practice. This is just mine, and I'll show you where everything is, but just get planning and you'll get better and better with every new route you plan.
Great.
Or just grabs everything from someone else, which is also very good.
That's good for both.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well,
thanks a lot for your time. It's been
yes.
brilliant. Thanks to everybody who watched this evening. For those of you that are going to do the doorstep challenge this weekend, good luck. Hope it goes well and you have dry trails and sunshine. And we look forward to seeing all your routes next week.
Make lots of nice pictures.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time as well, and thanks for watching, everyone. I hope I helped you with a little bit of komoot knowledge, and you'll plan some great routes from now on. Have fun with that, and have a nice evening, rest of your evening.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.